What's up, y'all? It's your boy once again, and let's get to it. I mean, you watched my videos before. You should already know if I gave you a little bit of something, it's just a setup for the money punch. Now, in the 1980s, when you had your superstars, your big four, your big five, and all of these things, y'all didn't even know there was a big payola system going on that was keeping the rest of the boxing world and building other fighters up. Like you criticized them today, they fighting bums. They were fighting bums back then, except for I told you it wasn't as frowned upon. And only in the 80s, like around the end part of the 80s, they wanted to start making changes to the rules and start to govern it a little better and start cleaning up things, because it was a pretty dirty game. There was fighters taking dives. And you remember Bruce the Mouse Strauss? He was a celebrity. He was on talk shows. He was on David Letterman. You know, he was one of the major figures in the whole boxing ring. This guy didn't fall as other people. He's fought under different names. He has done a lot of activities that y'all would be like, what? And he fought over 200 fights. Some fights he won, some fights he lost. Under his record, he's like 77-58. And he made a great living being what they called a career opponent. And these are the times that we speak on, that I try to tell y'all, you really didn't know that era of boxing, because your focus was Ray Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, Duran. Wow. What an era. When you miss the other fights, Marlon Stallings, you miss those fights, you know, like with Bumpus, Mancini, Camachos. You know, you missed the Edwin Rosario fights, Chavez Sr. You missed out. You missed out on a lot. And there's a lot of other fights going on. James the Heat Kenshin. You know, there's plenty of fighters that I could mention from that era that made exciting TV. Livingston Bramble, you know, Dwight Braxton, who changed his name to Kwawi. You know, there's plenty of fighters on there that you guys have really missed. But listen to this.
I am the first and the last of a dead breed. You know, there's no pressure. You know, if you win, that's great. And if you lose, that's all right, too, because no one expected you to win anyway. Actually, winning to me is often, not all the time, but often losing with style, grace, and minimum damage. I don't train, Jay. You know, the way I look at it, no, if you train, you're going to be in condition to go more rounds. If you go more rounds, you're going to have to sustain more punishment, so it's not worth it to me to train. I don't have the ability to install pain on contenders or potential contenders without the use of foul tactics. I can see how people can confuse what I do with taking a dive, but it ain't like that. You see, I punch as hard as I can for as long as I can. And at that point, if I crack the guy with my best overhand right square in the chin, and all he does is grins, well, you know, then I start looking for that soft spot on the canvas, you know. I was fighting the number one contender over in Africa once, and he hit me with a pretty good right hand the first round. It didn't hurt that bad, but I figure I'd take an 8 count on one knee, shake it off, and get back up and give him a few more rounds. Now Jay, whilst I was on one knee like this, he pushes the referee out of the way, winds up, and the last thing I remember thinking was, this is really going to hurt, you know? When other fighters, when they wake up in the locker room, I see this all the time, they ask what happened, you know? But when I wake up in the locker room, I know what happened, you know? Yeah, I once fought twice in one night, you know? This was something. I had just gotten knocked out or in a preliminary fight, and as I was waking up in the locker room, I overheard a loud commotion, which was instigated by the fact that one of the main event fighters had gotten cold feet and left, you know. So I approached the promoter with the idea of me changing my trunks and fighting as my twin brother. You know, the guy had nothing to lose, you know, so I got paid twice that night, you know.
What was the outcome of both those fights?
I got knocked out that time too, Jay, you know, but I got paid well.